Hey, what's going on, you guys? We're going to be testing out the cameras of the 7 Plus and the 12 Pro Max. For the longest time, I loved this phone camera when it came out in 2016, I think. The dual camera system was perfect, and I thought it was like good enough to like last as long as it did. When the 10s came out, when the 11s came out, I was like not super impressed. But when the 12 Pro Max came out, that was the first iPhone or smartphone that has impressed me in a long time. So we're going to be comparing side by side if you actually need an upgrade from the 7 Plus if you have it, and up to the 12 Pro Max. So let's get down to it. All right, first shot of the day. All right, so one thing that I'm still getting used to for the 12 Pro Max is the fact that HDR is just so good on this camera. Because what I'm used to like from the 7 Plus is having the image look natural, where like the highlights are a little bit blown out or the shadows are a little bit underexposed. That's like kind of the look I get from regular mirrorless or DSLR cameras. So with computational photography in the 12 Pro Max, everything looks a little bit too perfect. Sometimes it does look nice, or like the photos I did in Yosemite, but I'm still getting used to like how unnatural and too perfect it looks. All right, so right now we're in Golden Gate Park at 3:46 p.m. So the sun is starting to dip and the scene is starting to get really dynamic, where there's really thick shadows and really thick highlights. And this, I believe, is like where the iPhone will thrive in terms of the HDR and how it wouldn't look crazy. So if we look down like right here, like you see like almost everything is in the shadows, or like it's just all over the place. But for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, is almost no problem. For the iPhone 7 Plus, I'm pretty sure it will hold its own. Oh wait, just kidding, it doesn't. The shadows get murdered out. So that's actually really surprising, because I thought that the 7 Plus would like get it right off the bat. But of course, if you go right into the camera app, just click right on the shadow. It's gonna be overexposed a little bit too much, so just drag it down just a bit. Well, actually, it's not handling this scene well at all. Huh. Oh wait, HDR is just okay on 7 Plus, but 12 Pro Max, it's much better. So I guess that is one very apparent upgrade between 4 generations. And I mean, I hope so, right? Like 4 generations later, better get something better. Look, it's pretty evident that computational mobile photography has come such a long way from the 7 Plus to the 12 Pro Max. And within those 4 generations of any smartphone, mobile photography has been probably like on the rise more than it has in the past decade. But right off the bat, comparing the 7 Plus and the 12 Pro Max, you can really tell that the 12 Pro Max is a lot more saturated. It's a little bit over sharpened for my taste. I really like the natural look of the 7 Plus. The colors aren't too crazy. The HDR look isn't too crazy. I really believe that the invention or the introduction of smart HDR, and I believe the iPhone 10 was, I guess, a step in the right direction for the general population. But as a professional photographer, if I'm gonna be like really nitpicky, I'm not too much of a fan of it. It looked really bad on the 10. I remember when skin tones looked crazy orange and the blues in the sky were crazy blue. The saturation slider was too much and everything looked too flat. I would say that the Smart HDR 3 on the 12 series iPhones look a lot better than it did in the 10. But again, I really prefer the more natural look of the 7 Plus. I just noticed that my desk was hella messy in that last clip. I have no idea why I didn't clean up my set. I'm nowhere near the cleanliness of like other tech review YouTubers, because who the heck has a messy setup in the background? After comparing the 7 Plus and the 12 Pro Max side by side in broad daylight, I think it's really easy to tell that if you soak any sensor in a lot of light, they'll end up looking good anyways. I was being really nitpicky between the two. Now, with the introduction of night mode in the 11 series iPhones, I was actually impressed with that. But with any first generation new technology in any device, I'm a little bit skeptical if it's actually real. So since the 12 Pro Max has the second iteration of night mode, I want to go and test that out in the field to see if it actually holds up in its capabilities as advertised through Apple. Alright, let's talk about lenses. Now, when the 7 Plus was introduced, the regular wide lens had a f1.8 aperture versus the 12 Pro Max's f1.6 aperture with its introduction this year. And from a photography standpoint, f1.8 to f1.6 is not a crazy performance increase, but with the bigger sensor in the 12 Pro Max, you actually see better natural bokeh, and I will show 2 video clips side by side of the 7 Plus Plus and the 12 Pro Max, and you could tell that when you bring the lens in close to you, you have a nice natural creamy bokeh on the outskirts of your focus subject, and I really like the look. I'm a fan of it. And since we're on the topic of video, let's transition into that. Even though this is a very photography-centric channel, I feel like video should be a skill set that every photographer should have in this day and age. Right off the bat, I love the video off of the 12 Pro Max, and I gotta say that versus the 7 Plus, this can be a great camera for anybody who wants to start their YouTube channel or who wants to vlog on the go without carrying an R5 setup with a furry microphone on top. I'll throw up some samples right here.
Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. Today we're gonna be talking about summer. Just kidding, it's winter.
I hate myself. With the addition of the 10-bit Dolby Vision HDR, the colors are nice and juicy, and you get that nice high dynamic range in the video as well. You kind of can't take advantage of that software and firmware right now as well because, you know, most timelines in Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere, like, they are in SDR, not HDR, standard dynamic range. So it's kind of weird that Apple hasn't like released the firmware so that we can enjoy it in its full glory on every single YouTube video or video in general. You can only enjoy it fully right now on other iPhone 12 lines, and comment down below if I'm wrong about that. But I also have to admit that it's a hypocritical statement that I like HDR video, but not too much of a fan of HDR photos. I see the appeal of HDR photos. It has a nice iPhone look for a lot of social media influencers or for anybody who just wants a good looking photo right off the bat without any post-processing. But for me personally, HDR photos just don't look good in every single situation. It does in some, especially if you're taking photos of like nice, beautiful landscapes. But in other situations, I'm not too much of a fan. So it's a matter of preferences at that point. But HDR video, I am a fan of. I would be super down to just film YouTube videos off of my iPhone in case I want like a more minimal, smaller setup, because it's not that great to carry the R5 all the time. So whenever I'm in a pinch, the iPhone 12 Pro Max or the iPhone 12 or whatever can be a good friend for you if you want to start making videos. And the final verdict, should you upgrade from the 7 Plus to the 12 Pro Max? Yes, but if you shoot mostly daytime photos from like 8 a.m. to like when the sun goes down, if that's mainly what you shoot and you don't really shoot low light stuff, keep the 7 Plus. It's more than good enough. The camera and the look of the photos is way more natural and you don't need to upgrade at all. But if you want that ultra wide lens and you want that low light capability, the night mode and the video, 12 Pro Max, no brainer, go for it. Plus, Apple ProRAW is coming in iOS 14.3. That's one of the main reasons why I upgraded to the 12 Pro Max instead of the other 12 lines, is because of that. The capability of shooting raw photos on your phone is super dope, and I look forward to iOS 14.3, and I'll make a video on that when it comes out. Along with the updated screen, the sound, the speakers, and the design. I love the flat edges from the 5S series. So having all of this back feels pretty good in the hand. Plus, like, the 12 Pro Max and the 7 Plus are pretty much the same size. It's just a little bit bigger on this, but you get the full screen. So there's that. I highly recommend upgrading this if you want that low light, ultra wide and video, but if you don't, stick with the 7 Plus. I honestly think the 7 Plus is one of the greatest iPhones made of all time, and honestly I would have stuck with this if Apple didn't push firmware to burn the battery life and make this thing overheat all of a sudden. Like, I have no idea why. My phone just started overheating a lot more, reduced performance, all that stuff. I guess like with the rapid pace of developing technology, companies want you to upgrade to the latest and greatest thing. I would have been completely fine rocking this for at least 2 more years, but with the overheating battery and all this other stuff, I just couldn't see myself continuing along with this and had to go for the big honcho, the 12 Pro Max. That's all I have for you guys in this video. Leave a comment down below critiquing my first tech video. Just let me have it because I'm not good at this. I'm not good at tech reviews. So if you want a more like in-depth review, go to Marquez Brownlee, Peter McKinnon, Tyler Stallman, or anybody else. There are tons of people who are better than this. You guys are just here to hear my preferences and my personal opinion on how I would personally use this compared to the 7 Plus. So have a good day. Like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you guys and girls in the next video. Peace.